Hello and welcome to episode 581 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and my chair just squeaked quite loudly just then.
Yeah, I heard that.
I hope no one else thinks that I've got some sort of gastrointestinal issues, because I don't. It's merely that I've got an office chair. And Dan Butcher, the wonderful creator of Vanguard and Viper, is clearly worried about me, aren't you, Dan?
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Whereas Tony,
I did see a tweet earlier that said someone said I don't care anymore. I'm farting at work. Hope you haven't taken that attitude up on the pod.
I want to those fart guns. Have you seen those? It looks like a little bucket with a bag at the back of it.
That sounds disgusting. Tony Esmond, why would you get a fart gun? Surely you've got
biological warfare.
You got plenty of your own, haven't you?
Yeah, but you can't fire them across a room.
Oh,
not with that sort of attitude.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
We've had a busy weekend. Anthony is tired.
It is a busy weekend. Plus, I've been waiting for the weather to cool off, and it just won't. And,
nope. Allegedly, it has. I saw on the news earlier, and I'm thinking, no, it fucking hasn't.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. So, but comics are always hot, and that's what we're here to talk about on a weekly basis. I feel like I lost energy halfway through saying that, but
no, that's good.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. It means a lot. It means a lot, and it's nice to see you, Dan. You know,
thank you.
Obviously, Tony.
But you missed yesterday.
You saw a lot of each.
Yeah. I saw a lot of Tony Esmond, and we embraced, didn't we, Tony?
We did.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, we wandered around.
Hand in hand.
Went to a pub.
What? Yeah, we went to a pub.
This is Comics Assembled.
Yeah,
yes.
Comics Assembled. Yeah, we in the G1 Leisure Centre.
GL1
in Gloucester, their first event, and we bumped into each other.
By Shane. Yeah, we'd got to hang out, quite a few of us. I have a list of names.
Oh, good.
Right.
Do it.
Because I don't.
Shane, the organiser, thanks Shane.
Yeah.
Bunsey and Jake, who took us to the pub with Eamonn Clarke. It was a nice little pub, actually. Quite a historic place, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Really cool. Yeah.
Ian Matthews and Danny Abrams, had a good chat with them.
Yeah.
Finally got to meet Dan Hughes.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Big guy. Love his work. I know we're all big fans of his. Like Damien and Helena from Art 92. I had a lovely dinner with them last night, and Chris Geary. It was much chuckles. I managed to record a podcast with Eamonn upstairs in the hottest room in the building. Chris Askham, isn't he a nice guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
We've been fans of Chris's work, but not had a chance to meet him properly. And
don't be surprised if you hear him on a future show very soon.
And we both independently, without knowing it, each bought his Warriors zine.
Yeah.
And you dig it.
Yeah.
Stuart Moraine and family were there. Chris Kieran, as I said, and mentioned Simon Lewis as well. The third in their Green Hollow saga comes out very soon. We reviewed the first two. Really lovely.
Yeah, that looks really
we've got
good.
The Ashcan of it. Have you read it yet, that Ashcan?
No, I haven't.
Mate.
It looks really good.
Fucking shaping up. Big shout out to the Book Palace crew. We both spent quite a lot of money at their stall. Lovely. Yeah. Lovely, really good stuff there. Loads of OA as well behind the counter and that. What a fucking geezer, as we know, Peter Hogan is.
Yeah.
Right, good chat with him. Had a photograph with him, telling us about the making behind the scenes on the TV series and Resident Alien, and what a nice guy. And I've got to tell you, do you know when you meet someone you think, fucking fair play, good geezer, I'm a fan for life now, Jim Zub. Jim Zub has written more Conan comics than anyone except Roy Thomas now, and he is writing them as if they're proper Conan comics. Yeah. And they are glorious. And we had a big conversation about it.
I wish I had a chance to talk to him, because I want to get him on this show at some point, because I think it'd be great.
I'd love to get him on, man. And he's, I think he's off to. I know the guest had just come back from Ireland. He was saying Jim's off to Ireland with his wife.
Yeah.
After Gloucester.
He started off. I think was it Skull Kickers? He started.
Skull Kickers. That's my introduction to him. I remember meeting him the month that Skull Kickers came out and was super hot at New York Comic Con.
And he's done loads of fantasy.
Now look what he's done, Spider-Man.
He's big in the Dungeons and Dragons world. Done a amount of stuff, as well as actually doing like live play stuff with the actual.
Yeah, he was saying he's a sort of almost like they're not the celebrity, but the sort of guest dungeon master at things and stuff like that. He does. Yeah, that big one, that castle one. And John Wagner was lovely. I went over and spoke to John Wagner, who was not happy because he just had a parking ticket.
Yeah, we
and
amongst
his stock on the table, there was a parking ticket in the middle of it.
Could have got an Uber fan to pay that for him, and he would do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something comics related. I don't want to kind of insinuate anything else.
I'm guessing that Shane probably paid for it, knowing what Shane's like. But Shane came over at the end there. I was having a chat with Damien, Helena, and Ian and Danny, and then Shane came over, and he's so nice. He missed you, Danny. Where's Danny? He asked me twice yesterday where you were. But yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah, I bought an awful lot of sort of back issues, cheap back issues and stuff. Little experiments I'm doing at the moment. But
for those that missed it, you should have gone. But one wall, it's a big old sports centre hall. One wall is like a comic mart, so it's just
that's
back
what it looked like.
art and trades and
a couple of different stores, aren't there? There was
annuals.
Online, there was an online seller. They were really nice as well. There,
I think there's maybe 5 different back issues, but in a long line. So, and it was never sort of super crowded. And then you add like a wall against the back wall and around the corner were the guests. And then you had the small press people. And there was no like people selling fucking tankards or badges or tails or, just Funkos. It was comics. It was lovely.
Horns.
Yeah, it was absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
Everything I would want from a comic convention was there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You were saying like we've made lists in the past what we'd like, and basically that ticked a hell of a lot of the boxes.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you went to a comic convention with these are the comics I'm looking for, there'd be a good chance you'd find a load of them.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Which is incidentally exactly what I want from comic convention.
Yeah.
A comic convention is to be able to buy the comics I want to read. Yeah. And it was that. But yeah, good stuff. There's a rumour it's going again next year. I'd go again. Yeah.
So
I would like to go. I had quite a lot on my plate this time.
Mate, you're too busy.
You surprise us, Dan.
I completed the Let Run of Vipers already. I've got to make a few amends because a few errors got pointed out, and then I've got to go to press for that next week. So it's finally getting there.
Wow, amazing.
Can't wait.
Mate, intervention time. Me and Vince had a little chat. We're worried about you being too mad busy at the moment.
Yeah, it's all right.
You all right?
Okay. Well, we're here. We're here if you need us.
Yeah.
Right.
Hang on, we're still recording. Yeah. Dan, you're dribbling. You're dribbling, Dan. Have you seen all those stains on his shirt? I don't think he's actually. I don't think he's actually slept or bathed in about 2 months.
Someone got in touch and said I'm putting together this children's book, like doing this administration. So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
When are we going to do that?
Is that a charity thing?
No, something else.
Damn, but fucking
damn. Loads on.
That's all right.
I've got.
I sent a pencil up my arse.
I sent a video to the boys before we started, and it's these boys sitting around a campsite, and some weird bloke comes over and he starts talking about his jacket, and he says, "Do you mind if you sit down?" And they went, "Well, someone's actually sitting there." He says, "Oh, I won't be long. I'll sit here. I've been jerking it all day." And I kind of feel that's going to be Dan at the end of this big, massive load of work. He's just going to sort of wander around a campsite chatting to people about how he's jerking it all day.
Yeah. I got, like, birthday in July, bought a couple of video games. Well, one my wife gave me for Easter. I haven't fucking got them out of the cellophane. I haven't had a chance to fucking play them. Yeah. So once the decks are cleared, I'm going to
treat yourself, Dan. But
treat yourself.
I mean, the other side of it, we know there's going to be lots of cool comics coming. So Saints coming along great. Wipes all good. I've got all the special boxes coming in for the deluxe backers.
Nice.
Oh,
it's all going to be good.
Mate, I'm not dissimilar, but it's just work. I'm getting half an hour to read comics a day, and it's killing me. I know what you mean. I'm behind on my deadlines.
Yeah. So self-care, people. That's what we're all about on this show.
Why not just spend a weekend next year and go to Comics Assemble? Like we did.
Yeah.
I mean, Vince did.
Remember, you put your life vest on yourself first, then check out other people. Got to look after yourself first.
Exactly.
We never do that. We never do that. It's so unnatural, isn't it?
Yeah. But as well as looking after oneself, we are all about learning things on this show, as well as like the jokes and all the nonsense. And this week it's a pretty special one. We just had a hell of a chat, and I think a lot of you listeners out there, old and new. I don't mean literally old.
Literally new.
Yeah, or literally new. I don't think babies listen to this show, do they?
I can hope not.
You might have been on in the background and they sort of like take it in. Like,
I wonder if anyone's listened to it while they've had one on in the womb, and it could.
You mean like classical music? JWC.
And then they'll become serial killers. Yeah.
Oh no, we're not saying that. JWC.
Oh, not JWC. I'm just been brought up.
You're just like one of the nicest people in the world. So yeah. But
we couldn't be classed as a good influence.
Yeah. I mean, does that make us godfathers in some kind of way, or uncles?
I don't believe so.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think so.
We'll shut that down right now.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well,
Vince starts buying a tie.
Yeah. And nothing else. But anyway, that may not be a thing that's happening, but what is going to happen is a fantastic chat with our old pal Jason McNamara, and you are going to learn an awful lot about comics, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, this week we're very pleased to be joined by a friend of the show, a creator and writer of titles such as Nocturnal Commissions, Past Tense, Ghost Band, and recent pod fave, Phantom Limbs, The Thief.
Yes.
This is the first time we've spoken to him since that book, which we fucking love.
Loved it.
It's always a good time when Jason McNamara joins us for a chat, and welcome back, sir.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me.
Good to see you, mate.
Pleasure.
It's always a pleasure, and not just because ask us in 45 minutes if it's still a pleasure. I know, as always, we've been talking for 15 minutes. That could have been in the show, or possibly shouldn't be in the show.
Most definitely shouldn't be in the show.
Probably shouldn't be. But long-time listeners will recognise Jason from his great comics in the past that we've talked about on the show, and we've had you on the show a couple of times. Firstly, Phantom Limbs, it's fucking
fantastic book.
Yeah, I know. It's only been a few sort of messages on the. Yeah. We're just warming him up first. So we love that one. So it's good to know as well. You're just still in the game, sort of grinding away, making comics and stuff, as well as this other avenue that you are doing, which is teaching comics. Now, comic courses, whether it be online or within the academic structure, is something that sort of fascinates us, because I also know really nothing about it. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of listeners. We're just making it up as we go along. So just tell us how you got into that, into becoming a teacher. We're talking to a teacher this week.
Is it would you describe yourself as a lecturer, or are you a professor, or how would you describe yourself?
My technical title is I'm adjunct professor.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're a full-time professor, there's different titles and title ranks as you go along. I have been an adjunct professor at Pacific Northwest College of Art for the past 7 years. I teach the comic book script writing courses, and now in the past few years, I teach the graphic novel courses.
Okay.
Nice.
And I was recruited. They were looking to have a comic writing course years ago, and my name came up, and someone had reached out and said, "You want to just meet the head of the writing department?" And I thought, I don't want to be a teacher. I was so awful to my teachers growing up. I was such a menace that it was never something that I really wanted to do. Yeah. But I met the head of the writing department, and she and I just got along great. And I thought, you know what, I'll do it for a semester. It can't hurt for me to revisit my process. So when it came time for me to make a syllabus, I thought, I always end up with books, but I've never really thought about how did I do that? What were all the steps I took to create this book? So I started off with the end product and worked my way backwards, and that became my syllabus for the writing course. So I taught that at nights, and then I taught the online courses for the adults. And it really made me a better writer.
Okay.
And I remembered, and you may remember this, when I was starting out 25 years ago, there were no resources. I just kept taking screenwriting courses over and over because that was the only thing available to me. Comics were not as accepted or celebrated as they are today. And I thought, I made so many terrible, dumb mistakes because either gatekeepers didn't want to share information with me, or there was just no information. And like you said, we have to make it up as we went along. I printed covers with 72 DPI text that I had to pulp. I published books that were riddled with typos. I got into a trademark legal battle with a publisher because they published the same thing. I made so many mistakes, and there was no one that really to help me. So I see all these kids, and I'm like, let me show you the way. And I'm not trying to get them to write stories that I want to hear. I want them to tell about the world that they live in today.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really like a conversation. Like I want them to avoid all the mistakes that I made, but I want them to tell stories that are germane to them and their experiences and their values. And one of the first things I do is I have them write a list of their values. And I often say, like, what kind of book would you not do? Right? So I don't have like a manifesto I post anywhere, but none of my books have guns in them because I feel like there's so much gun violence already. I don't want to put anything in a book that looks like a good idea.
Okay.
Right. And I may have to, because it's such a genre piece, I may have to bend on that at some point. But we talk about this, and your book should reflect you personally, because I truly believe that if you have your own voice, you have no competition. Right. So if I'm doing at a con and I'm next to Vince Hunt, and Vince is selling more books than me, it's not because I'm a bad person or people think I'm an asshole. It's people just wanted a Vince Hunt voice that day more than they wanted a Jason voice, right? So you have no competition. And once I realized that myself in my career, I was so relieved and so much happier making comics.
That's a lesson so many people should hear as well, though, because when we table, we are that lone island, aren't we? And we've been at conventions where you're sat there all day and got nothing, and it feels like.
But don't be competitive through it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
exactly
like that. Yeah.
It affects your self-esteem. Like, your name is on that book. If people pass your book, they're passing like one of your children, like this thing that means so much to you. But if you have a voice, like, they just didn't want that experience that day, right? And I think I have a very particular voice, and I don't think it's for everyone. The sales have backed that up.
You and me both, Jason.
But every time I hold one of my books, I'm so immensely proud because it's such a pure reflection of what I want to do as a storyteller. And that's really
it gives you a little bit of history as well. I was talking to a friend about Frank Miller recently, about Eamonn, and we ran through, we had in front of us a list of the books that he made. And I kind of, with a writer, with anyone, prose writer or comic writer or comic artist, I kind of see that as like, in a weird way, their life is the list of comics that come out. And we see you, because we've known you since that early book through to now, you're almost characterized by what you've pushed out and we've seen, I guess, in a weird way.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I'm an indie person. Like, I don't need to fill up a shelf. Like, I don't have to make content. I want to make content.
Yeah.
I want to make sense of the world that we live in. And comics, to me, are the perfect way to do that. Because you can collaborate with one or two or three people. If you want to make a film, like, how many screenplays actually get made? Right? How many screenplay writers actually get their movie made? It's a Herculean effort to get anything done. The more people and the more money you add to it. But comic books, I mean, even if you're paying your artist, which I do, a graphic novel is going to set you back $20,000. Like, you can micro fund a $20,000 graphic novel and pay your people and get that done. And the act of collaboration itself is so, like, beautiful. Like, we spend a lot of time alone as creatives. So to work on something together and to create something where there was nothing and takes on this life of its own, to me, that's the payment that I get making comics.
Yeah, it's almost like a person. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Can I just rewind to something you spoke about earlier when we talked about how you got into it? Is you talked about working from the end point backwards, which resonates certainly here because we had a big conversation about Frank Miller's, the first line in his new book was "Know Your Ending," which I think applies to a course as much as it applies to a story.
Yeah.
But did you have to design the course then? Is the course molded around how you wanted to work it? And what do you see as the tent poles on that?
So the course was a blank slate.
Right. Okay.
So
that was a great opportunity for you then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And also, I have to say, the school has been really wonderful to me. I get good reviews, and I'm really left largely to design my own courses. As long as the kids are producing work and I get good feedback, and the kids are happy and the classes are full. They've been really generous to let me do it. So I think one of the things that no one ever tells you as a writer is that you need to create a one sheet for your project.
Right.
And that is, even if your screenplay gets optioned, even if the editor is interested in your book and they've asked for more, what you need to produce is a one sheet that anyone at that company can look at a snapshot and understand, like, the log line of your piece, who it's for, the overview, which is like a cocktail party conversation. I say, like, you say why it's important to do this book and who the creators are, because if you get something approved, there's going to be a conversation around your work where you're not in that room. You don't always get to introduce or talk to about your piece.
But also, that something like that is very different. Like to some people listening, something like that is very different to what you would do for a press release, isn't it? Because some of the blocks of what you just said sound like what we see in press releases, but it's not. It's
down the tubes. Cool,
yeah. It's a very
and
specific,
really more informative.
It's so hard as a writer to separate yourself from the work and write something like that. So I always have everyone start off. The hardest thing, I have them start off with 3 sentences, 3 to 4. A beginning, a middle, an end. An act 1, an act 2, and an act 3. Because if you're going to pitch your work to anyone, you never tell them the ending, right? You tell them the setup, the complications, and then the stakes. What happens if your hero doesn't succeed? And there's 1, 2, 3. And if you can't write 3 sentences, 10,000 more are not going to help you. Right. So I start them off the first 2 weeks. We're just refining those 3 to 4 sentences. And then I make them all pitch them to each other. So they each have to come up with 3 ideas and pitch them. And I remind them all that, and I'll tell you a quick story. It's 2005, I think, and I've got like a slot with an editor at a convention. I'd emailed them before, and they're like, sure. Come at like 10:45 to the booth. And I got this great idea for a story, right? It's going to blow everyone's skirt off. And I get there, and I realize there's 10 other writers like in line. And it's like a cattle call. And everyone gets like their 5 minutes to pitch the editor, and then they move on. And I'm staring hate holes in their back of their heads. They're staring hate holes in the back of my head. And I get up there, and I'm just so enamored with my story, but I can't describe it. Right? This happens, and then that happens, and then this happens.
Nobody wants
to
hear
that. And they're looking at me like, and the pressure of it all, I choked, like tears are coming down my face. Yeah. And I believe in my story so much, but I haven't packaged it in a way that I could pitch it to anybody. So I flamed out, and they were like, look, come back tomorrow and give me the top of your pyramid. And I walked away thinking, like, no one knows who built the fucking pyramids. Like, what is this guy talking about? And someone at the booth saw me flame out and took pity on me. And they were like, Act 1 is your first sentence. Act 2 is your second sentence. Act 3 in the form of a question. And I came back the next day, and I got the book.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
I rewrote it, and I got it.
What do you think is the importance of like the very specific Act 3 is a question rather than saying this happens? Why is that?
Because they're your first audience member, right? And if they want to know more, they'll ask for an outline. Yeah. But if you say, if I said, Vince, Doomsday ends with X, Y, and Z happening, you're not going to buy a ticket, right?
Yeah.
You don't tell people the ending, even your editor.
What could possibly happen when in Doomsday ends? Yeah, it's a much better line, isn't it? Yeah,
I've definitely had that when I pitched a story to someone, and you kind of give them the kind of the all of it, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then like, "I've delivered it already." They don't want to hear the story. I already told you the story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Many years ago, I was at a convention up north in England, and John Freeman, God bless him, introduced me to quite a well-known comic book artist who's quite an elderly dude. And looking back on it, I know that John Freeman introduced him to him, so he didn't have to speak to him. And he said, tell Tony about your new comic. And the dude took 45 minutes to tell me about his new comic. And I was drinking from a coffee cup, so he couldn't see me yawning. I was like, I bought a piece of artwork that he had for sale because I didn't want to fucking stay there and all that sort of thing. And I thanked him and left. And then later on, we end up in the pub, and I end up sitting next to him. And he goes to me, "Oh, not you again." And I'm like, "Fuck me."
You wanker.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. So also people don't want to read, right? So if you open up an email and it's super long, you close your computer and you run away from it because
they do an AI summary now. Is what they do on it sometimes. Yeah. They don't want to read the whole thing.
But okay, so we do the 3 sentences, the beginning, middle, and end, and everyone else gives their feedback. Like, I think this story has potential. I think this has something, and they'll often it's the story they came up with. They usually come into the classroom thinking they have a story they want to tell, and then by going through this exercise of giving 3 pitches, because if you ever talk to an editor or a gatekeeper, you never tell them you have one idea, because none of us are one story, right? Within us are a multitude of stories. So if you're a writer, force yourself to come up with 3, because you never know when you're going to have the attention of that editor or gatekeeper again, right?
Yeah.
So it's called an elevator.
You shouldn't shortchange the pitch, the story, the ideas either. It's like being, and Dan, you'll know this, as being a designer. You'll do 3 logo designs. You've done 2 that you really care about, and you shit out the 3rd one, hoping they don't choose it. They will always choose the one you don't care about. So, so you have to create 3 things that you then want to develop, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you maybe one of them may be more robust in your imagination than the others. But the further inside yourself that you dig, the more that's in there, right? You just have to pull these things out, which is why I really encourage people to finish the first story, even if it's bad, because stories are like rabbits. You get one done, and then 2 replace it in your mind, and 3 replace it, and you're constantly now having more stories that you can tell in your lifetime. Okay, so you've got those 3 sentences, right? That is your outline. Now each of those sentences becomes a paragraph, and now you've got an outline. It's already done that work for you, and now you've got you've got the story. But you've got to do the 3 first and refine those 3 sentences, and then I think of it like adding water to a sponge. You've got these 3 little sponges, add water, and they grow. And then making the script at that point is easy because you're just adapting your outline. And sometimes there's a bit of a vacillation. You vacillate between the outline and the script. Maybe things change a little bit. Like you said, you have an ending that you're working towards, but you can always discover something new along the way and come up with a better ending. But you don't get in your car and start driving without knowing where you're going, generally.
Yeah, I kind of always, literally one of the first things is like, the ending's going to be this way. That's the way I'm traveling. Might take a detour en route, but I'm still kind of locked in. That's where I'm ending up.
Yeah, and you might have a better idea. The more time you spend with something, the more you live in it. So then we do, from there we go to a beat sheet, which is a plan for what happens on every page of the comic.
Okay.
I usually have them start with the first act. Give me the first 24 pages of a graphic novel. What happens on every page? And often they'll have a conversation scene that goes on 9 pages. And I'm like, look, you may have seen Bendis do that, and he can get away with it, but the rest of us cannot get away with that.
We said that just before you came online, man. We were just saying that. Yeah.
I was giving a bit of a crit to someone, and they'd done 4 or 5 pages of like a talking head scene right at the front of the book, and I condensed their first page into a single panel. I was like, 4 or 5 pages on a book. That's crazy amount of real estate for a conversation.
Yeah,
it's a pacing killer.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's the difference between like writing for a podcast or writing for a play or a film or a comic. We're writing for the page. So by making them do a beat sheet and having a plan for every page, then we can play with page turn reveals. Could you look at this story visually and follow it? And if you need dialogue, then we're doing something wrong. You should be able to look at all of the visual information. And when we start writing the scripts, I don't have them write dialogue until they've scripted 10 pages, and then they can go back and add dialogue. But can just the visuals carry the story? Because comics are a visual medium.
Interesting.
And I find if I do it that way, I write entire graphic novels without any dialogue, and then I go back on my second or third pass and I'll add some dialogue. But I find I don't need as much dialogue if I dial in all the visual information first.
Yeah, show not tell. Yeah, exactly. It's do you ever get anyone who comes back with a completely wordless comic? I'm slightly obsessed by them, mostly because they're great for international sales.
Yes.
Yeah, is it really? But yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. You're not wrong. When I go overseas, the first thing I do is I go to a comic shop and I'll pick up an issue with the Hulk and I'm like, can I follow this in French, or can I follow this in Spanish? And generally I can, right?
Yeah.
That's a successful story. So we don't even start scripting really till like halfway through. Like we do the bedrock of the 3 pitches, and I get them pitching me, and at the end I'm always like, hey, no one cried. And I did. Like, all of you got through the hardest part without bawling. So kudos. From there, then the outline. Outlines are really hard because they're not entertaining. They're dull. If you ever read a comic book outline, they're dull as hell. But they're
I've been to a couple for a while. There was a thing where people would read them on a stage and stuff, and there was always a lot of conversation going on. TCAF had a thing like that for a while I went to.
You know who's amazing at writing comic book outlines is G. Willow Wilson.
Oh, I like her.
Oh, okay,
yeah. If you ever come across one of her outlines, I think I have the one for Air is the one I showed the students. It's just really, or not Air, Cairo, right? So it's introducing the concept of Cairo to a Western audience, and she does such a superb job of making that accessible to a Western audience. I've never read the finished graphic novel, but I've read the outline many, many times, and it's just really super, super solid. And
she's a clever writer, I think. Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. And the first thing I ask my students is, was this fun to read? And they go, no, it's kind of dull. It's really kind of straightforward. And I was like, that's an outline.
Right, okay.
It's not meant, it's meant that this happens. It's really meant for you and an editor and maybe your artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's more entertaining than the actual book, you've got a problem.
Yeah, it's not meant
a big problem then. Yeah,
it's a blueprint.
What's with your students, if you don't mind me asking, what are the sort of regular genre or stylistic areas they tend to hit? I'm guessing when you're saying kids, they're mostly nearly all young people, are they? And
they're like 19 to 22 generally, 19 to 23. Okay. Occasionally, I'll have an older student who's like 30. In my adult classes, I would have like 30-year-olds.
Okay. So what's the sort of the main drive, like superheroes
or areas or
manga?
Manga, yeah.
Manga is their main drive, which is hard because the pacing of manga can be glacial, like per page. And I'm like, you have to draw this. And the manga that you love may have been made by a studio over time, and it had a budget and it had readership. So I'm often telling them, please don't make your first book a 1,200-page epic because you're never going to.
And it's in a weekly. It's done as it's not done as a graphic novel. A lot of manga it's done as a weekly release, and in a collection of other stories.
But they want to emulate. Yeah, they want to emulate that storytelling, and I understand that. But I'm like, if you can't, just walk before you run. Please, like, do a 6-pager, do a 3-pager, and then we'll work our way up to this bigger thing. Yeah. So that's the writing course, and that's a lot of like reading on my part. So I try and cap that class at 15 because it's a lot of reading outside of class. Whereas the art classes, you can put art on the wall and we can critique it and have a conversation in that moment. But I have to have 15 student stories in my brain when I come in. But it's all problem solving. Like, they have a story they want to tell. We just need to figure out how we're going to do it. Right? And how much action happens in between panels is really the biggest hurdle they have to figure out. So sometimes they are too, like, Jason scratches his head, lowers his glasses, scratches his nose. I'm like, you don't need all those moments. Like,
yeah. If any one of those moments is important, use it. Lose the rest. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And a lot of the character work can be done visually, right? Yeah. So if I have, like, if your character has like a food stain on their shirt, or their glasses are being held together with tape, like, there are things that will tell you that they're having money problems without the character having to say out loud, like, I got some real money problems this month. We do a lot of that kind of work, like a lot of character work. Like, what could you tell from this character without words? And I also will show them some pages and be like, these elicit an emotional response. Why? Right. Yeah. So story clarity is key. Like, can you follow this story? And then, are you using dramatic storytelling techniques, like a medium shot, an over-the-shoulder shot? Are you building to an emotional peak? And can you write those moments without using camera angles? Now, you can use a camera angle in a comic, but artists, they don't like seeing that. But if you can inspire them to get closer and closer to an emotional moment, you can write something that elicits that camera perspective.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the artists our little community, study are the likes of Toth and Eisner and people who I'm guessing your students would think are just like, it's like watching a black and white silent movie for them. Okay. When you're showing them work on the wall and stuff, how do you work that?
You want to feel old?
Always.
You talk about Toth. I brought up Jim Lee. None of them knew who he was.
Yeah. At least of all, Rob Liefeld, apparently.
Creator of Cable, Jim Lee.
Creator of Cable, Jim Lee.
The sole creator of Cable. Yeah. I showed them a lot of Becky Cloonan. I think Becky Cloonan is like the middle ground between like Western and Eastern comics.
Absolutely.
And she's just such a great storyteller that a lot of them are just really excited by her work. But I also throw in like Sienkiewicz. I'm a huge Mike Zeck fan myself. I think he really brings
Us too. Love him.
A beautiful noir aspect to his work. But sometimes I'll just show like a camera piece, like the opening to Touch of Evil, or I'll play a clip from a film but no sound, and I'll be like, what's the relationship between these characters?
Yeah.
How do you know who's antagonistic to who based on the camera choices that they used? Who's like, how do romantic people stand next to each other? Like, no one just walks into a room, right?
Okay.
So if you can imbue your characters with some emotional components, then the artist will adapt that.
Yeah.
You could say, Dan and Jason ride in an elevator together. Okay, but did Dan and Jason just get into a fist fight, and now that this is like the afterword? Are they pals? Are they work enemies? Like, we have a relationship to one another visually.
Where are they going?
Anything.
Yeah.
And the more you can dial that in, the less dialogue you need. Dialogue is like the last thing we should be worried about. Often people overwrite. They do everything dialogue because that's how they hear stories. But in a visual medium, we have to rip all that out.
I guess it's that communication, the right communicating to the artist without kind of putting chains on them too much and giving them, like, if you want to kind of say there is a relationship between these two characters and you let the artist maybe have the lady's hand touch the guy's shoulder in the panel or whatever, I guess you got to find that happy medium, and that's where good art teams kind of really shine when you don't need to say that.
And I also like
and get to know each other. Yeah.
And remind them that it is a collaborative medium, and that I've written, so many hundreds of comic book pages that have been produced, but I'm always impressed with what I get. Everything I get is much better than how I conceived it in my brain.
Right.
And you just have to let go and understand that this is a collaborative medium.
Absolutely. You can't, you've got to let go of it, haven't you? How you saw it when you wrote it in your bedroom 2 years before that, and it comes out differently. You've got to just appreciate in the moment what it's changed and how it works. And you're right, the beauty of that collaboration. Absolutely.
But also, artists will add a spin to it, like they'll do a character design and they'll add something to someone's belt that you didn't think of before, which then the writer think, oh, what's that? Why is that there? What, and it feeds itself, doesn't it? Great relationships.
You have to keep an eye on it, right? If you know someone is economically challenged and they're wearing like a lot of jewelry or something, I'm like, okay, they can have a smartphone, but can you crack the screen?
Yeah.
You give me these little things that are character moments that are not dialogue.
Yeah. In terms of students and stuff that you get started at the beginning of the courses, because it feels like, when you're into comics, and we love comics, and you have a feel for the medium, it's something that you kind of think, oh, I know how this is. Do you have any students that start the course almost thinking, I know how comics are made, this is a definite way, I'm just trying to polish my art, and then they all of a sudden it's like this is so much more than I thought it was.
I think the problem is a lot of kids don't want to be told stuff either, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tony, you've been in my classroom. Okay. The other class I teach is a graphic novel production class, in which I work with artists to produce comic book work. And I find all of the artists that come in there, I'm not teaching them how to draw. They all know how to draw already, and they already love comic books. But what they don't understand is how comics are printed. They don't understand the pagination, and often they don't understand how to really use the gutter for dramatic effect. Like, they can illustrate beautiful work, but it's not composed for a comic book. So one of the first things we talk about is like, what is a comic book? Because there are tapestries on caves that are beautiful work that are sequential storytelling, but people have to go visit that. Whereas comic books are meant to be reproduced to go out. So you draw it once and it goes out to 1,000 people. You don't draw it once and 1,000 people come to visit it in a museum.
But some students have to be sort of like, you think you start this course and then the first question is like, what is a comic book? Some students will be like, oh man, I already know all of this. Do you know what I mean? You have that. We've all been there. We've all been in the classes.
Let's get to the bit where we start drawing.
When do we get that bit? And then all of a sudden you think, oh, actually.
You need a foundation before you can build a house. So we talk about like the history of comics. How they originally were just a collection of strips from the newspapers, and how that was a business model, and how they often reflect the times in which they were made. And we go talk about Robert Wortham and Seduction of the Innocent in the 50s and the 60s, and how the code changed in the 70s, and how comic books reflect the times that they are made. Often because they may have an idea of a comic book that they love, but it's from 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and times have changed, and you should be making work that reflects the world that you live in now.
Okay.
I mean, we all have influences that we stand on that get us out the door, but we have to be storytellers today, right? When stories are told, really, they should say something about the times they were made in. It shouldn't be a pastiche of like a nostalgia. Like, weren't the 60s great? Sure.
Okay.
But we live in a world.
Or they're a reaction. They're a reaction to the times we live in. There's something that inspires.
I'm a little bit obsessed by your reading list as well. What do you get them to read? I'm guessing you have like a list you send out that they should read before they arrive and stuff like that.
No, I don't want them to buy a bunch of stuff because they're broke, right? So I will beg, borrow, and steal material. Right. It's constantly changing, but I will put Kate Deacon ducks in front of them.
Oh, okay. Dan likes
that. Like a personal story. So I want them to like tell stories that are like could only come from them in like 3 to 5 pages. And then later in the semester, I'm going to teach them how to write a script, and they're going to collaborate. They're going to swap with someone else in the classroom. So, Vince might be adapting Dan's script. Dan might be adapting Tony's script. Tony might be drawing Jason's script. And they've got to adapt it and work. And they've got to like understand how to adapt someone else's work, because that might be a job that they get in the industry. And if they've never seen a comic book script before, then they're not going to get that job. They're not going to succeed at that job. So that's another like exercise that we do. And then the third big exercise that I do in the graphic novel class is I have them adapt something from another medium that hasn't been adapted before, right? So I get like a lot of Little Shop of Horrors has come back. Nice. The kids today love Little Shop of Horrors. They're discovering Rocky Horror, or they'll go with the classics. They'll do Frankenstein or Camilla. So or Voltaire. I had someone do Voltaire recently.
That's not an easy adapt, is it?
No, or 5 pages from like Albert Camus' The Stranger.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's there's a BD version of that, which is very good. I'd like to add.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. I'd probably maybe adapt something from X Hamster or something like that. Yeah.
Well, it can't have been a comic book before. But, adaptions are often the jobs they give people new to the industry too. Right, so if you're adapting a new movie, they're not going to give that to an established person. Rarely do you see that. Like Walt Simonson is the big exception to the rule, right? Like his adaptation of Alien is just beautiful,
amazing. Yeah, we were big fans.
Yeah. Or Mike Mignola's adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 1990 film. It's better than the movie because you don't hear Keanu Reeves' accent.
Yeah.
Oh God, you're right there.
And the other standout,
I can't even do a bad accent.
Who did the DC '89 Batman? Who's the?
Oh shit!
God,
that's like the fucking gold standard, right?
Superman.
I think it's Danny O'Neill. Danny O'Neill wrote it.
Yeah.
I believe.
Was it?
Wasn't Kurt Swan?
The problem with all those is they're trying to take like a 90-minute movie and they're all 48 pages, right? So it has no flow.
Yeah.
It's like the classic comic series out of Marvel when they did like Food of the Gods and the Odyssey and all that sort of thing. There's a bit of that there as well.
Jerry Ordway.
Yeah.
That's
Jerry Ordway. Oh, of course, yeah, I love Jerry Ordway.
It is really the comic for the people that have seen the film of just like moments.
It's just a memento.
Oh, and the things like that as well. It's the visual language is so different. Like there's a panel in that I used to stare at and copy, and it's like the martial arts guy with the 2 blades on his feet. Like he's doing like a sort of like quick G.I. Joe quick kick, sort of like Bruce Lee jump at Batman. I thought it was amazing. When I saw it in the film, I was like, oh, he's gone. You know what I mean? It was so different to what it was.
So much, didn't they? All the Superman movies. I've got the Kurt Swan Superman 3. You got all the Star Trek movies were great adaptations, and there used to be some great stuff like that. Indiana Jones and Blade Runner, and that
was all before streaming. That was all before video stuff. Like if you wanted to experience Star Wars again, and it wasn't in theaters, you could take it off your shelf and have that.
Yeah.
It was like novelizations of movies were super popular, weren't they? Yeah. I read so many.
Completely different time, right, for comics and kind of the way it's done.
Yeah, I got that one. That's a good novelisation. The Scanners novelisation.
Jesus Christ!
Have you had a project, Jason?
Like the Halloween and
it doesn't quite work the same.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What do you say your students struggle with the most? Is there a task you set them that often trips them up?
Adapting their work to print is always a challenge. So I give them a print template, and I have to teach them like this is a safe zone. All your panels have to end here. This is where the trim is. This is where the bleed is. But your bleed is actually part of the document, even though it's not going to be printed on the page. So getting them ready to have their work ready to be published is always a challenge because they're working often on tablets or in Clip Studio, and they just send me a PNG, and I'm like, this is beautiful work. I can't print it.
Yeah.
Or they don't understand, like they'll do a 2-page spread followed by like a 1-page and then a 2-page spread. I'm like, can't print this. So how the pagination works, even to odd, and like having a page turn reveal, and maybe slowing things down on the right if you want that to pop. So you can put like 7 or 8 panels on the right. So you're slowing things down. You turn the page, you get this wow moment. So the sequencing of it, they can illustrate, but often they may do the same static shot twice in a row and not know why it doesn't have an effect.
Yeah.
So you want to you want to elicit an emotional response through your panel choices, unless you're Garfield. And I'm here to tell you, Garfield's Garfield comics are not entertaining, right? But they're not. They're not
the controversy. Yeah.
I do like the. Who's the guy that did he went through and he edited all the Garfield comics? He took all Garfield's thought balloons and speech
Garfield
out.
Without Jim.
Yeah,
and he's like an existential crisis.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Like Jim just talking to Garfield and there's no response.
So obviously Jim Davies is plenty successful. But if you look at his lettering, and most lettering, it's just all at the top of the panel. So what your eye is going to do is it's going to read all the text first, and then it's going to go down and look at the visuals. And the visuals and the text are not working in Congress together to move your eye in a way that slows down the reading experience.
I've never.
Because we all experience a 4-minute song in 4 minutes, but you put so much time and effort into drawing a comic book, you want people to marinate in that experience as long as possible. And
lettering is such an instinctual for us as readers world, isn't it? Yeah. That as soon as you mention something like that, everyone goes, "Oh yeah." Lettering is the invisible art in a way, isn't it? And every time you mention something that's wrong, you go, "Oh yeah." Now you suddenly realise, definitely, yeah.
You forever changed Garfield strips for me now.
Garfield's a piece of shit. One of the first things I tell the kids.
I'm a little bit obsessed again with Art School Confidential because I watched it the other day, and I would love. Do you get any students who sort of follow you around the class telling you that they've read your work and they really want to talk to you about it at all yet?
No. I will give them PDFs of my work if they're interested.
Okay.
I had one student. He was like, "Hey, I told my stepfather I was taking a class by you, and he's a big comic book fan. And he said he never heard of you." I said, "Oh yeah? What's your stepfather's name?" And he was like, "Kevin." I'm like, "Yeah, I never heard of him."
Done him.
I was like,
Yeah.
So put you on the spot here, Jason. Here's a question. What are the main mistakes people make? If you could name 3 that would be useful to some of the sort of people who make comics who listen, or just people who read them, what would be the 3 main mistakes that you go, "Oh, not this again," or "What you're doing here is quite common. You're doing this here. This doesn't work because of this reason."
Visual clarity. They
Okay.
will clutter their pages in a way where I can't follow it.
Right.
Without I don't know what I'm looking at here. It's just the back of someone's head. So they're not varying their shots. As a general rule, if you watch TV, any network TV show, TV is shot very, very quickly. They don't go back and reshoot things. They have to get it right the first time. And television editors always do this. They start with an exterior establishing shot. When and where are we? Are there spaceships? Great, it's sci-fi. Are there horses outside? It's a Western. Is it day? Is it night? Is it a building? Is it a nice building? Is it a decrepit building? Is there a doorman? Is there a cracked window? When and where are we? What kind of circumstances are we in? And then we move interior to a wide shot of people in relationship to their environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we never have to see those things again. And then we can get in closer to people, and we generally build up to a close-up of a face, because the face can say so much more than any piece of dialogue. And I sort of equate it to if you've ever been at the beach, the tide is out, and then it comes up and it reaches an apex, and then it resets and it does it again. And I think visual storytelling is the same way. You're building up to these little emotional beats, then you're resetting and you're building to another beat. So visual clarity story clarity is number one. If I don't know when and where we are or who I'm following, is this overly cluttered? Or, if there's too much background, if they're not making things on a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, right? So you need to think of these as a sandwich, right? There's 3 elements, and you should be inking them different. Your inks in the foreground should have a much thicker holding line on them. The medium, and then the background is barely sketched in with a really light pen, if at all, right? And you don't get the details, you just get the shapes in. And you understand, almost like a school play, if you've seen the elements of a school play on stage. That is how a comic book is also composed. So sometimes everything is flat. They use the same inking for everything, and it just becomes one monolithic glob.
God, we've read a lot of comics like that as well.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. We talk a lot about that, and the only reason not to show where someone is when they are talking to their friend in a bar is that where they is a mystery. That's the only reason not to show it, I think. So as soon as I just see two faces, if a comic opens with two faces talking to each other in a dark or unestablished environment, I think the mystery is, where are they? That's what immediately occurs to me. Unless you do that, the building they're in, the room they're in.
It has to be intentional. Yeah, it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
I give them an example of, like, if you have someone in the trunk of a car and they're talking to themselves, like, there's an intrigue. There's like these voice bubbles in darkness, but you do the shape of a trunk, and then you turn the page and you realize they're in a trunk, or you crack a light.
Yeah.
But you lean into that. You're like, where are we? Yeah. Like, you're pulling the reader in. If you give the reader too much information, they're just not invested. It's passive. They're watching it go by. So I would say that story clarity is key. I would also encourage people when making comics, you have to remind, especially if you're holding an object, like, you're transitioning from the real world to a story world. So if your first page is like 10, 12 panels, you're not really transitioning. Like, you're looking at like microfilm, like you're struggling to get into it. If you can open with a splash page or really big panels, that's transitioning us from the real world to the story world. And then you can go to those smaller layouts because you're already holding them.
That's good.
That's true. I mean, like, you look at the classic
Marvel comics open on a big page.
Exactly. I was just thinking the classic 60s ones where you just have Spider-Man, you have the header, and like, he's outside a museum or something. It's like, and then then it goes into.
He's swinging past the zoo, and you think something's going to happen in the zoo. Yeah. It's like that, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, you're onboarding them into a smaller visual experience. All those 60s Spider-Man, it was like a second cover on the inside.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was glorious. Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it was better than the cover.
And you look at some of the Mike Zeck, Gene Day inked Master of Kung Fu, it's exactly the same. It was almost like a second cover when you opened it up. Yeah, absolutely. Talking about Mike Zeck again.
But, I would say, I'd also say, like, doing double page spreads on the wrong pages. And just not thinking about how the eye is going to move across a page. Like, if your paneling is too confusing, your eye isn't going to move across it right. So are they reading it in the right order? And putting your focal points, like your faces or, big action pieces, are you putting them in a way that's going to flow right? If it's all faces at the top of your panel, everyone's just going to look at that first, because we look at eyes. As human beings, like, we just associate, we go to eyes right away. The author, Patricia Highsmith, she said, one eye attracts another, and it's completely true. We'll always go to the face as a focal point.
Yeah.
So if you can vary them in your shot selection, like moving in and out, we are visually engaged. If it's really static, intentionally static, you can create sort of a rhythm with that. Bendis does that, where he repeats the same shot until he subverts it. But he's pulling you into an effect and then subverting it.
You've got to be careful with dialogue as well. And I was reading a 90s Image comic this weekend. And there was a big splash page, big team talking to each other. They're jumping about, doing, having full-on conversations during an action moment, which is completely irrelevant. But like 5 people were talking to each other, but the lettering, I was reading it left to right, and then I realised I sort of left to right and then moved back down to the bottom left again, doing that natural sweep. And I suddenly realised when I moved to the bottom left, hang on, I think that dialogue was supposed to be somewhere. It was jumping all over the place. Do you know what I mean? You have to be careful.
Yeah. I kind of think they left Marvel too early, some of those people.
Bless your heart for taking that on.
Yeah.
So that would be probably number 3, I'd say, is illustrating your characters in the wrong speaking order.
Yeah. Which comes back to me for a question I was about to ask for point 2, but it counts for this one, is, are the kids in your class, if they're that manga obsessed, are they writing it in a different direction?
No.
They're not. Right, okay. In the Eastern reading fashion. Do you know what I mean?
I still can't get my head around that. God bless
Difficult.
people who do. Yeah.
The character speaking on the left-hand side, right-hand side, this is usually why I make my character design symmetrical. So if I fuck up on a panel, I can flip it and, like, now they're on the right side.
Yeah.
It's the old filmation method.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if you watch old He-Man cartoons, that's exactly what they do. So a lot of the characters had to be symmetrical. Like, who's the guy with the O on his chest?
Orko,
yeah. He had to have that O because you could flip it in either way, and the O is always going to be removed. Yeah. And they have problems with Trapjaw, so sometimes Trapjaw's arm is on the wrong side because he can't. Yeah. It's a really cost-saving thing. So it's smart.
Yeah. So the manga doesn't reach into the dialogue being on the wrong side of the room, if you see what I mean.
No.
Right, that's fortunate.
It's the pacing, because they have taught themselves like manga pacing is how you tell a comic. And I'm like, you as a writer artist yourself, you're not going to have 900 pages to get to the point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying you can't get that job one day, but you've got to work your way up to it.
We can't have an issue of 20 pages and nothing's happened in those 20 pages because it's been building up to one moment that never happens.
Also, like if you have a book solicited or you're giving a preview, it's always the first 5 pages. And if nothing's happening in the first 5 pages, there's nothing to show. Yeah. I give them the example of like Emile Ferris. Emile Ferris is she's the author of My Favorite Thing Is Monsters.
Yeah.
Beautiful book. It's 800. It's more than 800 pages. I think it's close to 900 pages.
Wow.
And that's her first book. And she had West Nile virus, and she had to reteach herself how to use her hand by drawing that book. Right? It's an amazing story, but it took her like 15 years to make that book, and that's her first book. And I ask all my kids, like, if you add 15 years to your current age, is that when you want your first book to come out?
Right.
And they're all like, oh, no, I'd be in my late 30s. I'd be nearly dead. My whole life.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Are some of them putting comics out as you go along? Are they doing little zine fairs, or are they doing...
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Some of them are.
I like that.
Some of them absolutely are. And then I put out a book every year of my student work, and we put it on Global Comics. And we just got the new book last week, so I'll be putting that on Global Comics soon.
What's that called, man?
So a lot of them get to be published authors by being in the course. Not everyone gets to be.
Can you name check it just for the listeners, if you wouldn't mind, Jason? Just to.
It's called the PNCA. Every edition has a different title, but it's the PNCA Comic Anthology.
Real. We can look
every year I update it on, so I'll be updating it in the next few days for Global Comics.
Oh, nice.
Last year was called Conjoined. This next one's called Homeward.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have a theme for that? Sorry to interrupt. Do you have an ongoing theme for them? Because that looked like a horror sci-fi cover. I'm guessing it. Is it? Or?
Every year we come up with. I have the students come up with a different theme. We put a bunch of things up on the blackboard, or the whiteboard rather, and I say what are emotional responses that people have.
Right.
And okay, so maybe yearning is this year's. Maybe mourning is this year's. Maybe love is this year. And then we go through all these different locations. Like, what's a dynamic location to have a story take place? Sometimes it's an undersea kingdom. Sometimes it's the Old West. Sometimes it's like a jungle environment.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's cities or decay. So then we land on that, and I make them vote on it.
Oh. So do they also vote on the cover, or does it get a bit competitive as to who gets the cover?
I took the cover away from them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I can see why.
Yeah. So early on I'll see some students. I'm like, I'll have 1 or 2 students do some cover mock-ups, and then I'm going to art direct the cover from now on. I used to make it very democratic, where we would throw up 20 or 30 thumbnails, and then we would vote, and then I'd have them work as teams on things. But what would happen is they're young, and then they would just go off brief, and I would say, okay, I was your creative director on this, and I asked for X, Y, and Z, and you took it upon yourself to change that.
Yeah.
So in the workforce, you would be fired. Like, you don't tell a creative director that you're going to fix their direction.
Yeah.
Right. So and that was a worthwhile conversation to have. So now I tell them point blank, like, I'm in charge of the cover. I'm also beholden to my department to do something that they can show around to attract students to the program.
Yeah, and they're always looking looking for people to publish, aren't they? I haven't been at a university for a number of years. You've got to keep publishing, haven't they? It's points for the department and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's also just, we want to celebrate the students' work. I want to celebrate that they went on this journey with me. I'm not an illustrator, but I am an art director. So I'm mimicking what they're going to go through in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to work with editorial forces. You're going to have to work with a theme. Like, you can't always just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can do that on your own time, but I am specifically asking for these requirements. I need a TIFF. It needs to be this size. Your text has to be legible and free of grammatical mistakes, or it's not going to be in the book. Yeah. So I've had really wonderful illustrators not get published in our book because they just don't want to meet the basic standards of comic book publishing.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, you could be the best artist in the world, but if you can't meet the brief for publishing, then you're not going to get published. It sounds harsh, but that's the way it should be, because if other people can do that, and sometimes
it's a business, man. As well.
Yeah.
Sometimes need to remember that.
Comic book publishers, they're not overstaffed, right? Like your editor, everyone is doing 10 jobs. Everyone's there because they want to be there, not because they're getting rich, right? It's almost like every comic book company is like a startup. Everyone is working way too long, taking on way too much because they believe in the mission.
Yeah.
So if you turn things off, off book, they don't have the time, the resources to sit you down. You've created trouble. You've created more work for people that are already overworked.
Yeah.
Do you get many guests in, sort of, not inspirational speakers, but do you get some guests in to, give their little angle and
sure,
that sort of thing?
So Dark Horse is local. I'll have we'll do like a meetup with some of the Dark Horse editors online in class, and they'll ask some questions. And I bring in Ben Dewey. He's
nice.
local, and he's just one of the most fantastic inkers. Inks by hand, and we bring him in, and he does an inking demo for the kids, and that's really helpful. That's something that I can't demo inking. I can talk about it, but to have someone come in and hold a brush and dip it in water is huge to them. Especially since many of them are digital makers.
Yes.
There's a beauty to inking, isn't there? There's a real feel to it, isn't there?
And sometimes digital inking, you can always redo something, so you become kind of a perfectionist, like redo. Otherwise, if you lay it down once, you just got to live with it.
It's what Ralph Steadman calls beautiful accidents.
There's beauty in failing forward. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is.
Making the most out of a blob of ink.
I mean, how many Sienkiewicz pages full of stuff that he fucked something up and he's made something out
every
of
single one of them.
Every single fucking one of them.
Yeah, I think that's where that splatter comes from originally. I have this theory that we love this splatter now. We watch Miller and Sienkiewicz do it, but I've got a feeling it's just an accident where they knocked something over at one point. And,
you can't control something like that. But
catwalk across the page. I show them pages from Stray Toasters.
Oh wow.
A lot of that's like an forgotten, just beautiful book. The way he lays out those pages are so emotionally evocative that we look at a lot of those too.
Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, we could talk forever about this. We're learning so
Where's the
much.
time
Anyway. I know. Where has the time
it's blasted by, man.
And obviously, you got some upcoming stuff that we'll talk about. But I just want to ask you, obviously, you're feeding the minds of the next generation of creators. Mm-hmm. But what have you learned yourself about your own creative process through doing things like this?
I would say spiritually it's very good to be a teacher because creative people, I'll just speak for myself, we can be emotionally volatile. Ups and downs,
really?
Right?
Fuck off.
It's true. Mercurial. Especially when you're in the indie world, because it only happens if you make it happen, right? No one's knocking on my door saying, please make another book. I have to be self-motivating in all ways. And you can get really down. You can get kind of in the dumps. And I would say, working with students has made me much more optimistic and eager to make comics because I'm problem solving with them, and that gets me motivated to problem solve for myself. And I will letter comics, and I will share everything I'm doing in the classroom. I'll just show it on a big screen. I'll letter my books while they're having studio time, and they can see this is how people actually work. This is the industry, and I want to share it with you because it wasn't often shared with me. It's such an open way. I'm very, very frank with them about my successes and things that have gone well and things didn't go well, highs and lows. But it's made me a better creator because I'm constantly thinking about my craft and I'm constantly motivating them and having that conversation with them. Younger people are much more vulnerable and emotionally attached to the world than I think I am. As we get older, we get a little bit, not ground down, but we're a little bit more cynical or a little bit more protective, or we're not. But they're so emotionally engaged with the world that it's really exciting, and I want to know what are they adapting? What are they excited about? And then I can give them my experience and my knowledge. But what I always tell them is I know so much more than you'll ever know about comics, but only you know what you want, right? So take all the advice that's going to help you, and then meter that with what you want the experience to be, or what you want to do as a storyteller. And I'm going to be 100% supportive, no matter what you want to do.
Yeah.
I had a student, one of my early semesters, and they were like, I'm going to write a book called Kill All White People, or something like that. And I was like, awesome, let's do it. But it's got to be the best version of Kill All White People ever done. And I'll go there with you. Yeah, let's rock. I like a good perspective.
I'd read that. Yeah.
Put that on Kickstarter.
I think I often talk about this because I do quite a lot of teaching as well, and I think the only good thing that you can teach, that you can do, is honesty. As long as you're honest with them, I think that's the most important thing with this sort of thing. Anything that isn't honest,
And I'll say, like, so many of them already have the professional level skill set, but what they don't have is like a professional practice.
Yeah.
Right. So they kind of draw
mindset, I guess, because there's a skill set and then there's a mindset, isn't there?
Yeah. So I was reminded there's like 3 things you need to succeed. Right. You need to have talent, and some of us are born with it. I wasn't, but some of us grind it out. Right. So you have a voice. Can you meet deadlines? And are you someone who's easy to work with?
That's the old quote, isn't it? 2 out of 3 tends to work, doesn't it? Yeah, that's the old quote.
But we can control 2 out of those 3. So I asked them, have you seen bad comic book work? And they're like, yeah, I've seen like people that are not great get work all the time. I'm like, guess what? They met their deadlines and they were easy to work with.
Yeah.
Those are 2 things that you can control, even if you're doing stick figures.
Yeah. So many people sort of like they stand on their soapbox saying this artist is terrible, this artist is terrible. Well, they're obviously doing something right because
they're getting work.
People getting jobs.
They're doing something right.
Yeah.
There's some creators who are absolutely fantastic, and then they just don't put work out.
Yeah,
everything's delayed.
Yeah.
Sometimes early success is like the worst thing that can happen to you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. We've seen it so many times recently, Jason, where we've had the big, the big new talent. They're pimped up and plumped up, and then we don't see them again. They disappear off for ages.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So managing a career is its own thing. So we do a lot of talking about just like how to talk to publishers, how to behave at a convention.
Yeah.
Right, like how to like ethically network and not treat people as doorways to other things. And it all comes back to like we all love comics. So if you're at a convention, wherever you are, we all love the same thing, right? Yeah. We're all just celebrating comics. We're all loving comics in our own way. You don't have any competition if you have your own voice. And if you can just be approachable and have like, you don't have to be a lot of these kids don't have great social skills, right? Like the pandemic did a number on all of us, but especially young people, right?
Yeah.
This key developmental age, we locked them up for a year and told them, other people were poisonous. And that's okay. Like, you don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. You can just say, hey, this is who I am. This is my work. What are you doing? Let's just be curious about people.
Enthusiasm's enough sometimes as well, I find. If they're enthusiastic about their product, I think that's a really big thing. And of course, the other thing that we don't really talk about here, and I know we were talking about Bendis just before he came on about how great he is, but the thing is, Bendis, I think Bendis' wife is his kind of business manager, and for new people starting at Marvel and stuff, she does a little talk for them about, well, this is now how you need to manage your finances. This is now what you need to put away. This is what you're going to get on royalties, possibly. This is what you're going to get if they do a hardback of it.
Sometimes,
this sort of thing.
Sometimes you
this
have.
This is what you're going to get when they make a movie out of it.
God, I'm about
a big fat one.
I'll make the wrestling reference that like you get some of these hot new talents, and if they talk to the older ones, they're like, save your money.
It's a bit like football,
because they're told that it's like, oh, this is great, I'm getting everything. Save your money. Because you'll need it when it's not coming in anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's like
MMA is the same over there. It's that now, isn't it?
Yeah, managing your finances, because like you may have a job now, you may be getting paid really well for 3 months and then not get paid for 9 months.
It's a freelance. It's a freelance world, isn't it? Yeah, that's the thing about it. So, I mean, obviously. We've all learned. So I feel like you've been our teacher for an hour. I feel like I've learned so much. I'm sure he's going to invoice us.
What could I teach you that a 90s image book couldn't teach you?
Exactly.
Anatomy.
Who owns cable?
Yeah. What's the size of a normal human waist? Anyway.
What do feet look like?
Yeah.
Don't make me show you. My camera's on.
You're Winnie the Pooh in it, we know, Jason.
Yeah. We all are. But, we can't let you go without finding out like what's coming up in the world of Jason McNamara.
Okay, so you mentioned something earlier. You wanted to know that you were heartened to know that I was still in the game. And I think for the past 20 years, I've done a graphic novel almost every year. And to your point, every year I have to come back and I have to remind people that I'm still here. And in some ways, you're like warming up a cold audience. So I have sort of rethought how I'm going to make comics because I want to stay in comics. and not have to constantly like warm up this cold audience. So the second part of Phantom Limbs is done. It's on my hard drive.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
The art is done. I'm still lettering it, and it's called The Writer, and it's a horror story about being a writer. And if I do my job right, you will all call to check on me after you
Yeah, because I know obviously a lot of your tales have there's a sting in the tail, but you said that you were writing something that maybe is slightly hopeful at the end. It's are you working on something that has not a miserable ending?
I think I gave up on that.
When we talked about
that's the plight of the teacher.
That's my life. That's my life story. It won't have a miserable ending.
Yeah, just
when we
looking at
talked
that
about
sea
the
of
Phantom
faces.
Limb, we really struggled to talk about it and not give away the game on it. It's kind of
and that's a good thing. That's a brilliant thing.
Yes,
but
it's challenging to market a book like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't just say, "Trust me, it's depressing. You'll love it."
Yeah. Because it is like telling someone a Twilight Zone episode without telling them what it is. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I just say it's the feel bad book of the year.
I felt good reading it.
So sometimes you have to lie or sort of tweak what the story actually is to preserve the surprise.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm doing a big graphic novel now with an artist in. God, I'm gonna choke on this. His name is Matthew Peru or Pereira. God damn, sorry, Matthew. And it's called The Estranged, and he's in Portugal.
Nice.
And it is. I love horror movies so much, and I'm always fascinated on like a good horror sequel, like how you pull that off. So in writing The Estranged, I'm like, I'm just gonna make this a sequel to the horror movie that we've all seen. So it's
awesome.
the first 10 pages is like the end of the previous movie, and then we do the aftermath of that and how like she's trying to rebuild her life and how the town is responding to her. Maybe some people think she had something to do with it. And there's a heartbreak at the center of all of this. And I wanted to do like My Salem's Lot, where I get to spend some time in this town that had a tragedy and build out the sequel to a horror movie that you probably already put together. You've already seen the original horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just building the sequel of the final girl trying to rebuild her life, and things go wrong again. And I get to play with a lot of things that I don't want to spoil.
Yeah.
But I'm releasing that in 32-page chunks. And it could be 4 issues, it could be 6. I'm having a lot of fun writing these characters, and I want to stay in this world as long as possible.
Awesome.
But I also want to build an audience for the work, so breaking it into smaller chunks so I can keep people, stay in front of people. The second issue of Phantom Limbs is done. The third volume of Sucker has been like 70% done for a long time, and I'm going to release that next year and come back to some other works. But I don't want to be away from Kickstarter for more than 3 months going forward from now on, period. Because I had such great experiences there, and I've had such good success there. But every time you go away for a year, some people are just off the platform.
You got to rebuild the audience.
Yeah, and it's a Herculean effort, and I feel like a body in motion stays in motion, right?
Yeah.
So that's my plan going forward. So if I've been quiet, it's just because I've been building up material.
Wow, yeah.
Can't wait, dude.
Keep it coming.
I want to reward an audience for sticking around. So if you support the Estranged Chapter 1 coming to Kickstarter soon, I'm getting the inks for Chapter 2 now.
Nice.
I'm
Yeah,
working
it's
on
always
the
good to
script
know.
Yeah, I'm working on the script for number 3 with my editor now. I'm working with an editor named Connor Knudsen. He was formerly of Dark Horse. And that's my other advice to people is if you see someone's gotten laid off, look them up. You can get them on the cheap.
Yeah.
Wow, that's hella
good advice.
I'm getting a deal on
good
that.
Yeah.
Connor's edited hundreds of books for Dark Horse, and now he's freelance, and I get to work with him, and it's great. We can talk for hours.
So is the Estranged going to be the first one that we'll see how Ray does, and then Phantom Limbs, the writer?
I want to get a couple chapters of what I want to do is get a couple chapters of the Estranged done, and I also want to close the gap between the Phantom Limbs 2 and Phantom Limbs 3.
Right.
Nice. So if you support Phantom Limbs 2, you're not going to have to wait another year. Alberto is just really busy. He's running his own comic book company in Italy.
Wow.
Called Leviathan Labs. So he's an editor-in-chief. He's dealing with, the mafia.
Yeah. But, I mean, the beautiful thing about The Thief as well was it is that, it's a little one-shot. I know we've got other chapters coming, but it can have a little bit of the runway can extend a bit because that story was so nicely told that we're not getting the who's that behind the door 6 months later. You've got to find out who it is. Do you know
and that is the trouble with indie comics, right? Is like I'm reluctant to back indie comics, especially because like, is there going to be a second issue or a third issue? Do you have a business plan?
Yeah.
Or, sometimes making that first or second issue takes so much out of you that they're just an exhaustion.
Lose interest, some people.
Yeah, it's not the money, right? There's no money coming in.
Yeah.
So I want to just build up that trust for new people and the old people that the time in between will be more minimal.
Yeah. Well, dude, we love your work, so keep us posted.
Yeah,
I love you guys. I love your work.
Yeah.
You guys are always a positive force.
You're very kind.
It can be really easy to be negative about things. Not everything's a blonde Punisher. Aside from the blonde Punisher, you guys are really...
There's the reference.
I'd forgotten about our special bond over there.
Yeah.
Can I tell you my take on the Punisher?
Please.
We can end with this. You all love Donald Westlake, right? Richard Stark. He wrote
massive fan.
Yeah, me too. And the Darwin Cook did the adaptions of The Hunter. There was a Lee Marvin movie in 1960 called Point Blank.
Yeah,
which is a Parker movie, isn't it? Essentially, but they're not allowed to.
Yeah, it's a Parker. Yeah, it's an adaptation of The Hunter.
Is that the same one that Mel Gibson did Payback? Is it that one?
It is, but the thing is, it wasn't until the only movie so far that's used the real name of Parker is that Jason Statham one.
Oh,
sadly, Sorry, I interrupted you.
Carry on.
Jason.
No, it's great. Who almost played him was Robert Downey Jr. for a long time had the rights and was going to make an Amazon series. And
there's a great movie called The Outfit, which is another
Robert Duvall.
Parker, but that's one of my favourite movies. Love it. Yeah,
I'm a big fan. But the adaptation of Point Blank, at the very end, so he, they think he's dead. He comes back. He gets all his vengeance. At the very end, he recedes into the shadows, and you realize the whole thing was probably a ghost story. That he probably was dead the whole time.
Right.
And I think the Punisher for me is a ghost story. The Punisher, not that he's a supernatural being, but that he is the ghost of Frank Castle. And ghosts stick around because they're trying to solve this problem, right? They're trying to right a wrong that happened in their life. And he can never right the wrong. It's a Sisyphean task to sort of get rid of crime. Yeah. So he's just constantly like a tragic figure in my mind.
Yeah. Well, he's lost himself, isn't he? And
he's the ghost of Frank Castle. That's who the Punisher is.
Yeah, because Frank Castle kind of died when his family died, didn't he? It's that thing.
Yeah. He let him die. He put him away, didn't he? Just to get on this journey.
Yeah.
Or he went to Weird World.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the other version. Yeah.
Oh,
saying that the current Punisher books okay in my books. I
liked it.
All right.
You don't have to explain it. He's just back.
Yeah,
I love Jason Aaron's run. I thought Weird World was like a left turn. I was like, this does not feel Punisher to me.
Yeah,
but I
wonder if that was editorial. I think there was an editorial hand there somewhere.
To get him off
David Peepo's series. Having met David Peepo's, I don't think he was the right writer for it. In all honesty.
Right.
Also, an unenviable task.
Yeah. Right. You weren't going to make any friends writing that book, regardless of how you came at it.
But there are characters like Lynn Varney. There were other Punisher adjacent characters that they could have brought back that the fans would not have revolted at so much.
Yeah.
Right.
No, totally.
Son of Punisher.
Well, whenever you come back, we will not be revolted, my friend. And until that time, which will probably be soon, during the amount of comics that you're churning out.
Yeah.
Where can people find your comics, get your comics, find you online, etc.?
You can find me at politestrangers.com. Which is my home site. And I will be launching The Estranged very shortly on Kickstarter, probably next month. I'm going to wait until after. The Rose City Comic Con is on the weekend of September 11th, and I just don't want to be in two places at once. So I'll probably wait until after that's done.
Nice. So get ready, folks, because there's going to be plenty more Jason's comics to come. And he's teaching the next generation, so he's going to be in our lives for quite some time.
I want to put a name on your radar. A former student of mine. Their name is Zoe Lewis. I guarantee you, in a year or two, you're going to want to have them on the show. They are just phenomenal generational talent. I'm so invested in their success. They're just a great human being, fantastic artist. and they're just going to take off like a shot. I guarantee you.
Amazing,
cool,
and
nice
we all
one.
know where you heard it first on this episode.
And if you need a lesson about 4 hours of the Punisher, we're available to come in. Business flights.
I mean, it's not necessarily a lesson; it's more of a massive rant. That we're going to
do. This concludes this episode of the Punisher podcast.
And welcome back. Wow, I think we all learned there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, one thing we already knew that is Jason's an awesome guest, and he's a great writer. So definitely get your radars ready.
I'm really sorry about Baltimore. I feel bad about that. I still have a good time.
You approach it from a completely different angle.
Yeah.
There's a different experience between behind the table and then being a punter.
Yeah. You might be right.
Yeah.
Okay. But I did enjoy it, and I'm going back
soon.
soon.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm going back soon.
I said you got to be honest, Tony, and you weren't lying. You did enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, man. People forget honesty. We got to do it.
Yeah.
It's the only way to be fair is to be honest.
Yeah.
Any kind of lying, whether it be for a good reason or a bad reason, never ends up helping anyone.
The honesty can hurt at times, but it's better that than the kind of the sort of rotting, malingering
and people will
lie.
Respect you more if you're just honest.
Rotting, malingering lie. Damn.
Festers. He's kind of
Festers.
Nothing.
What's all this language coming out? This is so dark and grim. Are you okay, Dan?
Yeah, it's fine.
That's the second time I've asked him if he's okay.
Another intervention on Dan Butcher.
Kind of.
He's turned into a turn of the century poet.
We know, like all this last week, the events is going on. It's just like, this is terrible. Oh, it's awful stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully this show entertains.
All that stuff about cable. I don't know if we're going to move on for it.
Yeah, well, it's just pretty harsh. If only
I wonder which bullshit you would.
Yeah, if only there were ways to verify it. Anyway,
I do love. I don't really like Bleeding Cool. I've got no time for Rich Johnson, but I did like the bit where I think he was arguing with Rob Liefeld by saying, "Well, Rob has said Rob."
Yeah. You actually said this before AI was a thing. Anyway, if you don't know what we're talking about, just
don't worry.
Google Rob Liefeld.
Don't worry, it'll be forgotten. It'll be forgotten in a couple of days.
Yeah, please. Forget
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Here's a video of you saying this.
Yeah.
AI.
It's AI.
Your
No.
mum's AI. Your mum's AI.
Your mum's AI. There's a shirt.
Oh, let's get on it.
Yeah, let's
get that on the Redbubble shop.
Yeah. hbgear.redbubble.com.
Please do it. I will buy that t-shirt like 100 times.
Your
I'll buy
mum's
that in a mug.
Your mum's AI. Okay. Is it your mum's?
A little Vince Hunt mum wagging her finger.
No.
No, with no top on.
Tony, calm yourself.
Your mum's AI. Your mum is AI.
Yeah, is it your mum is AI or is it your mum's AI?
Oh, it's got to be your mum is AI.
Your mum is AI. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, seriously, we need some sales on the shop. So if there's anyone listening
Yeah.
to it,
We got one today.
Hey! Somewhere in the world.
It costs us the time to put the design together, right? It doesn't cost us to have the design up. It's
no, it's just the manpower time, isn't it?
Yeah. But would you like to see more content like that? Some jokes that only you and your friends will understand.
We should have a competition at Christmas for the best fucking one-liner. Yeah. And whoever gets it, we put it on a Redbubble t-shirt and we send them a free t-shirt.
Brilliant idea.
And that way, nice. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I know what Matt Bunce's would be. It's Vince when he's black coming back.
I mean,
Buncey was fucking great entertainment, mate, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was good seeing. I panicked. I thought I hadn't mentioned him, but of course I did. Yeah.
Got Back in Black. That title was sitting right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it's not really a pun-based. I mean,
Back to Black.
Yeah. Well, it could be a lot of things, but I do appreciate Matt always championing my work, so which is always appreciated. And what is also appreciated is you lovely people listening to this show. So, is there anything that you should be checking out? Do we have any shout-outs this week, James?
I got two. I'd like to give a big shout-out, and we appreciate their effort at Epicentre for the way that their new sales campaign has taken off.
Yeah,
Epicentre Comics. That's who we really
Comics
appreciate.
On Instagram. If you go there, you'll understand. I think this is there's a certain sort of niche in the market.
There's like a formula. They come
formula.
How did they think of that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But,
God bless them. God bless.
If you look for the views and likes, like some videos get a lot and others nothing. It's like I can't work out the
market testing is such a science.
Yeah.
They seem to have got that algorithm.
It feels
down.
like they've cracked the formula.
Yeah.
And
And I would like to crack the other one. I'd like to say is I've done another Never Iron Anything, which will be going live later this week with Eamonn. Thank you to Eamonn, because he brought along his recording kit, and a bit like this, we never sit in the same room and do it, do we? And it was a really different experience. I loved doing it, to sort of just sit across from someone, and we were handing stuff over to each other and looking at stuff. I think one day we must do that.
We should do that.
Didn't we do when we went out for that meal?
Did it the 10-year one? We sat in that weird little hotel room, didn't we? And you said, "Why are you taking pictures of us in a hotel room?" But yeah, we did that one, didn't we?
And then we sold the pictures, and it kept another year.
Doing it in the nude was weird. It added an extra dimension to it.
Yeah.
Well, Tony had one sock on.
Yeah. Big. It was one of those gym socks, long thing.
It's quite.
I don't know the name of the bloke whose sock it was, Dan. But
can you remember we had guests on the show, and they were talking about their convention coming up at this part of the year. Can you remember it? The next one's coming around. Can you remember the name of the con?
Not the one that was in Coventry.
It's not Inkblot, is it?
No.
Is this a quiz right now?
No, this is part of the shout-outs.
Oh,
well, you actually know who it is?
Yeah, the Goblin Market is back.
Yeah.
18th of October, 12 till 5 p.m.
They're nice
Stanley
people,
Arts.
aren't
Yeah. Really
Comics
nice
and Zines Workshop, and there's an animation screening. That sounds fucking ace. So do go check that one out. We've got Shah Book 2, Soul Wound by Pat Mills of Ledroit. Detective Duffy's search for the truth drives her deep into the darkness of the heart of New Eden, but is she incriminating herself?
I've backed that.
We've got Zine Zilla, Saturday 12th September, Trinity Centre, Bristol, 11:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Go check out Zine Zilla _Bristol on Instagram to find out more. And that is me.
Nice, Tony.
Thank you. What?
Tony?
I've done mine.
You've done yours. Oh,
yeah,
Christ.
Mine was about I got you looking mine up. Mine was all about Epicentre Comics.
That's what it was, because we did a bit. That was that really threw me. Speaking of bits, now it's time for the bit of the show that a lot of people will probably add stuff to their pull lists, wish lists, or possibly check out in the week ahead. Dan did
bits where we was looking at the bits.
What are you doing?
Yeah, Dan was just doing some stretches and saying the word.
I looked away and looked
saying
up
the word,
and he was doing something weird.
Yeah, he's saying the word bits a bit, and do you know what? I'm questioning every single one of my values, and I'm loving it.
Thinking about getting a divorce.
Well, shall I start from mine, where I got gifted Realm of the Damned, because I wanted to read this for ages, by Worley and Parr, and it's not a complete trade. It's the 3 trades in a box set,
Right.
and I thought, being the clever boy I am, you read left to right.
Yeah.
Hang on, did you get the box of the 3 trades?
The 3, yeah. So I'll start with a book on the left-hand side, which is going to be the first book, obviously. Don't check that. Don't check that, Dan. Yeah.
I thought you just had the 3rd book. You had accidentally got the 3rd book. So you had all 3 books.
All 3 books.
And then
I was like, why would they put it in reverse order? So I'm reading it thinking, it's one of those stories that it throws you into the deep end and then reveals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't, because it's part 3. It's like starting Return of the Jedi.
But saying that, I think this is an important thing, because obviously, I recommended it back in the day, and I read it like volume 1, and then I picked up volume 2 and volume 3. So I was on the chronological.
My list.
Yeah, and I was on the chronological track. But I think it is important to bear this in mind when there are these like 3 volumes, or something like this happens, or maybe someone gifts you the 3rd volume of a book on its own. What was the actual experience like? Was it complete? I don't know what's happening, or was it still?
Oh no, it was. I still got like there's a bit where it starts off and the main character's like being chased by these kind of werewolf faction, and he's got this kind of pimped out truck, and he's like fighting them off. Yeah. I was like, this is fucking ace.
It's like a little more Mad Maxy, isn't it?
Yeah, very Mad Maxy. It's kind of I love those stories where like the world's fallen into an utter state of disrepair and ruin. That there's like, this isn't, you can't pop down the shop anymore. It's totally everything's
That's
screwed
the first thing.
You know what I mean? Like any idea? Like the idea of like the Walking Dead thing of you can go in a shop and raid it. That's years gone.
Yeah,
like, that's no longer an option.
It's all rubble, isn't it?
It's totally ruined. And obviously Parr's artwork is great, man. Like the action sequences, he really kind of like pumps up the volume of them. The monster design as well.
What did you think of? Because obviously you've experienced his work from like Petrolhead and obviously Mask and stuff like that, and it's a very different color palette, isn't it? This one's
yes, I fucking love the color palette. It's kind of like
I think he colours this one as well, doesn't he? Does he colour this one? Or does he not?
Yeah, he does it all.
Wow.
Man, there's a hell of a lot of work in there. But it's a grey tone, but it's got a slight hint of green to it.
Yeah.
It's not black and white.
Yeah.
So when you get the red coming in of like blood or an effect, like it really jars because obviously the green and red on the opposite ends of the color spectrum.
Yeah.
It's really fucking like whoa, and it brings a kind of a bleakness and like a horror vibe to the whole world.
It is a bleak
really
horror.
Like I don't want to be here. I wouldn't want to live in this place. It's nasty.
Yeah.
But like if I show you the front of the book, there's no book 3 there.
There's no book 3. Is it on the spine? Is it on the spine?
On the bottom, it's got Wolf 003.
Right. Okay.
No, right.
But not very big.
Indication.
It's like sometimes when you see an image book and there's a big number at the bottom on the bottom of the spine.
There's nothing on the back that says this for the third book.
They should have done that.
So
copyright bit.
In retrospect, it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. I you know, at the end, if you still had a good experience reading it, Dan.
I had a blast.
Yeah. But then you'll go back to the beginning and understand where is the.
Wasn't my fault.
Yeah,
it wasn't my fault.
But if I remembering when I read it, it starts in a sort of like a jump forward. Do you know what I mean? It is that kind of like, oh fucking hell, we're at this point.
One of my books made me think that
today.
Yeah. I'm going to have a different reading experience for a lot of people because I've sort of read the last part of the story.
Comics reading experience.
Yeah.
You never used to be able to find Avengers issue 1 when you were reading Avengers issue 197. It's a classic reading experience. It's fine. It's what comics should be. You should be thinking about what's happened before this.
Yeah. And the important thing was you hit the ground running, and you didn't think immediately, what have I?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know where I was. You know, it's its own self-contained like art, which
is my Coronation Street theory. Nobody goes back and watches Coronation Street, the first episode. They all jump in.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Why would you go back and rewatch Coronation Street? They put it on TV now, Coronation Street Classic.
Why do people do that?
I love how he takes it literally. I love that you...
No, it's just the fact you got so little going on in your life. You're willing to watch a 15-year-old episode of a soap.
Yeah.
15?
Man, do anything. Yeah, like
60.
Anything.
Well, it's probably
they've caught up.
Yeah, they've caught up to 15.
They're in the.
Dan's still got it all on VHS. He's going to catch up there.
Yeah, when you could still just pop down the shop.
Deirdre dating Rashid era.
What? Wow!
Whoa!
Fucking hell!
That's a callback. Yeah,
there's a callback. Those that know.
When the night that Deirdre slept with Dev, I think that's what I used to go longer during sex. Thinking about that
awful.
Moment.
God,
keep the wolf in the door.
Wow. So many one-liners in this episode this week. Tony,
I'm going to go even further back, and I'm going to talk about a comic that's originally from 1986, but has just come out on print on demand. Much to a lot of people expecting it any day to come out, and pleased that it does. It's Football Picture Monthly, The Best of Stark from DC Thompson. It's 184 pages, print on demand, which I thought was unusual.
Okay,
I thought this would sell. John Stark, if you don't know, is a globe-trotting soccer mercenary.
Of course he is.
Okay.
There's a line. Fuck off, John Stark. He'll play for whoever pays him money. Whether it be England, Scotland, the Second Division, Latin America, or Italy. He goes all over. He's a big character. He's gone through a number of different comics, and he's ended up in this. He also has a terrible reputation for being like a real tough bastard on the pitch. He's always going in with studs first, and he takes no shit and takes no quarter, but he's a fair guy. There's a little bit of the anti-hero kind of about him, but in half-time they'll all smoke 20 Benson Hedges and have a cup of tea. It's those days of football when they weren't getting paid. You know, they weren't driving around in Lamborghinis and living in gated communities and stuff like that. It's kind of the sister title to the Commando comics, actually, which is quite nice. And the reason I bought it is we got sent a press release through from Commando about it, and I thought, this looks good, I'm going to order it straight away. And again, we were talking about print on demand, me and Eamonn, and this is printed in the town literally just up the road from me, 2 miles away. Great. Ian Kennedy cover. Barry Mitchell drew some of the main stories alongside Italy's Bruno Murata and Spain's Jorge Girault. This is written by Martin Lindsay and Bill Graham. I'll talk about the dialogue in a minute. John Stark's actually a pretty popular character for us, for non-Marvel and DC, British Comics Weekly kind of characters. He jumped about in a couple of British weeklies from DC Tom's before going into their sort of digest series. And this puts together is what I described as his favourite stories. There's characters in it called Tomo or Barry or good old Graham. They play against all this sort of thing, and but it's 2 or 3 panels a page, but there's a genuine tension in it. You can feel are they going to win? Are they not going to win? Oh, we got to win this game to get through to the trophy. Oh, it's the World Cup, but it's full of fucking made up places. It just made me laugh. He goes to a place called Fluminengo, which is meant to be somewhere in Spain. Like what? Division 1 is a team called Clagstone. There's a team in Italy called Bolano. I mean, there's another team in England called Tackenham. I genuinely think this was written by people down the pub at lunchtime. I genuinely think that. And in a way, it's kind of glorious for that, because it's kind of written for... You can see, because for those that are out of the country, the football, as we call it rightly in this country, the season's about to start. And my train was full of Arsenal fans today, because they're in the Charity Shield, and Paddington was full of Millwall fans last night chanting Millwall. And it's just such a culture over here that these people will read this comic. You don't have to know who Frank Miller is to pick this comic up. That's the beauty of it. But the dialogue in it is fucking hilarious. It is absolutely of its time. He's playing a Spanish team, and he goes, "All right, Pedro, not quick enough, were you, my amigo?" There's just shit like that all the way through.
Yeah, I love it.
He puts the ball in the back of the net, and the goalkeeper's called Pedro, and he says, "Pick that ball out for me, Pedro." And rather, because they can't swear either, can they? They can't swear in it. So, you bloomin' ninny.
Yeah, bloomin'.
Yeah, I love that.
Ninny. Who says ninny anymore?
Ninny.
Oh, we got to bring it back.
Yeah, I think we'll bring it back.
Ninny.
But I read this. I mean, it's not a short read, although it's in that sort of Commando style. There's a lot to it. It's quite interesting. The thing is, you read a Roy Rovers comic or something like that, you've got to know who everyone is on the pitch. You've got to know what the shirts are. You've got to know which way the direction the travel is of the ball. You've got to know this. There's a lot to it, and alongside that, you've got to build the tension up, and it works perfectly. It's just comics for blokes in the 80s. And it's glorious for it. It is really genuinely fun. Go get it. I got it printed on. I can't remember how much it was, but it was good. Football Picture Monthly, Volume 1. There you go. There's 2 volumes. I think you can get another one as well. Nice. In fact, as well, it's sort of slightly progressive in relation to race as well, which is nice to see for the times. There's a sort of black kid that's being bullied, and Stark takes him on side with him, and they come through and they get to the final. It's nice like that. It's good. Yeah,
because usually football in the 80s, the fans were often quite supportive of black players in the stands, weren't they?
I don't think they were.
No, they weren't.
I've been to a number of games in London in the 80s. I do not believe.
Christ.
I'd like to say that most teams have improved. Thank you.
Yes.
Well done, everyone. But
Hopefully.
It's well worth a read. That's my first one.
Nice. This week I discovered a book that I believe has been out for a few years. I read it on Global Comics. This one's published by Alien Books. It was also Red 5 Comics. Are they still going Red 5? I think they are.
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
I think so.
Maybe. But this is 3 volumes of a book that I discovered had a Kickstarter that only finished in July, actually. Just successfully funded on July the 14th. and you can still late pledge for available rewards. But I read all the digital on Global Comics, and this is a book called Mega, Rise of the Titans. A sleeping titan rises beneath the Antarctic ice. Cities fall, governments collapse, entire coastlines vanish under ash, blood and fire. Humanity discovers that the apocalypse already had a name, the Salamander. But buried beneath the ocean lies another impossible creature, older, more mysterious, possibly even worse. Its name is Mega. The end of humanity has already begun. Now the giants are waking up. This is it's by a creator, Salvador Sanz. That's Sanz. Argentinian book, as it's called on the Kickstarter. Argentine masterpiece. They collect it in oversized hardcover edition. So it's 3 volumes, and I'm literally reading the PDFs of these volumes, I presume.
Okay.
Because there's back matter in like sketches and stuff of his work in the back. And if you like a kaiju, destruction, slightly sort of post-apocalyptic dread and science fiction, there's an element of cosmic horror going on, because it's not just creatures that have been within the earth for a long time. It's like it's just epic on scales that I wasn't expecting. I saw Mega and I saw a creature and I thought, let's see what this is like. But it's also like these stories. It had a Godzilla. You know, Godzilla is in its DNA, because there is that element of bad creature arrives, and then another creature, which is equally as destructive, is there to battle the bad creature. Do you know what I mean? That is to truly simplify it in a way that does not do this book justice. But I was getting that sort of vibe and rhythm to it. But this, I was really surprised. The artwork on this book is fucking unreal. There may be some of my listeners that have already read this book, and if you just go to like Kickstarter, for instance, and look for Mega Rise of the Titans, and there's pages and there's designs of these creatures and these things that happen. Like, they are monolithic beasts, but we're not talking something that's based on a moth or something based on a lizard. They're sort of angular. They almost look like these ancient sort of buildings that have all of a sudden got limbs, and there's claws, and they turn up. It was quite refreshing to see sort of one of these books like within a South America sort of setting, like Buenos Aires and stuff like that. You know, I felt culturally it didn't feel like I was reading something that was baked for an American audience or an English audience or a Japanese audience. This felt like this was a book for, you know, made by a South American creator, for, you know, set in a South American sort of place. Like, in one of the books there is an epic scene in Iguazu Falls, which is a tourist destination, and a creature arrives there, and this is brutal what fucking happens. You're seeing the way these giant creatures, the complete disregard, you know, people are ants, and they pick up, there's a moment, here's a minor spoiler, they pick up a load of tourists and they hold them in their hands, and then they just smash their hands together, and there's just an explosion of blood and gore. And then but then they're using the bits of bodies for things that, you know, there's body horror, there's weird designs. It's kind of like doing things that I haven't seen before, using a structure that I'm familiar with. Do you know what I mean? I could follow the story, because there's also a tale about a father and his daughter and their relationship, and his estranged father, which ties into the bigger story itself. You know, you got to have that sort of tie-in. You know, people that are that Godzilla type character that's poignant to it, and another person who's in this adversarial, the antagonist. And it starts. It was one of the moments that got me sort of interested. Chapter 1 is called The Pastry Chef, and there's this kid who's making this cake that's a really strange shape. It looks like a bit of an island. And then they've got this strange dagger, and when they cut through the cake, it cuts to a part of Antarctica, and the cake he's made is the shape of that. And as he cuts through it, it creates like a crack in the ice, So immediately I was like, what the...
This rings a bell. I remember this now.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And that just only gets... So it gets to a point that later on, every time he makes a cake, you're thinking, oh, fucking hell, what is he doing? What is he going to do? You know, which is a wonderful device that I haven't seen before. And I was just... like I say, I just read it on Global. I went in completely blind. I wasn't aware that there is like a, you know... It looks like they've done gorgeous printed versions of this. I found it on Global, but if you want to see it, and like I say, Tony said to me before, I think this came out quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I think it was one of those free first issues to read on Comixology. I'm going to say.
Yeah, that might have been when it was. That was I was about to say when it was Red 5 when they published it. Probably.
Yeah, that's a good chance that was then. Yeah, I think.
And
so.
I would probably presume that Red 5 published it because he had already made it somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, I wonder whether they didn't finish publishing it or something, and Alien Books have taken it on. Mind, Alien Books have taken on quite a lot of stuff recently that's previously published, haven't they? So
but yeah, if the fucking because they've got nice pictures on the Kickstarter page. We'll put some link. We'll show you some pictures on the Substack. But immediately you're like, okay, I haven't seen designs like this before for a monster.
It's a great monster design. That's why what it sort of peaked for me. Yeah. Alien Books are doing some great Zorro stuff. Some really good. Yeah, great. I'm really enjoying that Zorro stuff.
So Mega, 3 volumes. I obliterated all 3, so I finished it all, and it was satisfying through the whole thing. So well worth checking out that one. And Tony, have you got another one?
Yeah, my last one. So I'm going to make a point at the start of this one before I get into it that this is a writer who I didn't think I'd seen before, and I bumped into him I went to his table at the Comic Assemble yesterday, and all the time I'm thinking he's new to me, but there's something in my head thinking I'm sure I know that name, and I think it's because for me, for new people, new writers, it's the artist that sells the book for me. So if I don't know who the writer is, the art is more important almost from the outset, from the purchasing of the book than the art is. And I think he'd done a couple of books with some artists that didn't click with me, wasn't interested in, and now he's done something which, when I looked at it, I would swear blind, I'd bet you money this was a translated BD book from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, and I put that as a massively high bar. I would put it close to something like Thorgal by Van Ham and Rosinski. Wow. Something like that. So this is Children of the Moon Volume 1, The Company of Wolves. I say it's Volume 1, and when I spoke to the writer Benjamin Dickson, he said you can read this as a single volume. He's hoping that there's a second volume, but you can just read it as a single one. The art and cover by James McKay, who you might know from he does Flesh in 2000 AD.
Yes.
It was when you look at it, it's almost done in the BD hardback format as well. There's nothing about that says UK Comics to me.
No, not at all.
And let's face it, sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a little overview of it. It's 15,000 years before the birth of Christ. Alahus is part of the Graesus tribe, and they live on the plains of Western Europe. And it's a tough life. Basically, the life of the men is hunting. His dad is the leader of the tribe, and he is a fucking monster. He looks like a big old massive. He looks like the Kingpin, but with a sort of mohawk kind of thing. And they go out, and you begin to sense that at one point they go out and they there's woolly mammoths and there's tigers on the plains, and they go out and catch this massive fish that they carry back, and they're all critical of this kid because he doesn't properly kill it and he doesn't really know what he's doing, and he sort of wanders off with someone, and he's saying, well, maybe I'll become a sort of magician character, and why would you do that? And there's a bit of that going on. And but what happens was he wanders out into the woods, and he comes across this very pale lady, young woman, and for a number of reasons they make love, and this girl disappears again, and he goes back to his tribe, and his father says, where were you? Now they're very sort of careful at night, everyone's got to stay safe around the fire, and he says nowhere, I got lost in the woods. And then later on, the season passed, and a messenger comes from another tribe who's also of that sort of pale, thin, gaunt look, and he says, we want part of your hunting ground, the leader. And the leader says, why? And he says, one of your tribe has got the girl pregnant, and the father immediately knows who it is because he keeps track of everyone, and he knows it's his son. And she says she's pregnant, so he kills the messenger, which is a bit, you don't do that. It's kind of one of the rules. And the war begins, and the white tribe, who are called the Children of the Moon, that's the title, are werewolves.
Right.
And it's fucking, but they're white wolves that are werewolves that transmute partly into a mid form and then partly just into wolves. And there's a couple of nice twists on it. Again, like we were talking about earlier, this starts as people round a fire telling a story about the past.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bookend it like that because it just starts like that. But the end, you don't get a bookend at the end because there's a big twist and something happens. It's really good. It drops in about maybe 3 or 4 gorgeous double-page spreads of just the environment, the mountains or the prairies or the rivers and the woods and stuff like that. Just to give you that, like we were talking with Jason a second ago, to give you that setting of where it's all happened. And in a way, it's as much about the nature of the environment as it is about the story, because you get curlews and you get gazelles and you get deer and you get a jackal and these wolves and the woods, and it's so beautifully done. It's a really, really beautiful looking book, oversized. I really hope there's a second one. There's one tiny bit of dialogue that took me out of it, where there's a wedding and there's a bit of Romeo and Juliet in a way about it. You know, these sort of two tribes that come together and they're going to get married, and they get in front of the person marrying him and they look at each other and they both say hi, and I'm like, that really grated on me just for a second. It took me out. And it was just a bit of an insertion of a Western. Bit, I don't know, bit of a modern, you know. But anyway, other than that, beautiful, really nice. You can find the writer at Ben is Writing on Instagram, or Ben Dickson, Dickson, bendickson.co.uk. You can find his books there as well. There you go. That's a nice little find it. Nice little find at a comic convention, that one was definitely.
Nice. I remember seeing the cover of that and thinking, that looked quite.
Yeah, as you went in, it was the second one on your left.
Yeah.
Just before you got to John Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely have to get my hands on that, especially because it's werewolves.
You like werewolves, don't you?
Yeah. And I like the fact that you lovely listeners have made it to this part of the show, and you've learned a lot, you've loved a lot, you've laughed, and now you're going to leave.
Live, laugh, learn.
Live, laugh, love, learn, and I can't think of anything else. Leave.
Yeah, that's fine.
But before you leave, you should get in touch with us about any comic book initiatives. If you've got any comic shows, if you've got a comic that you want us to check out, or shout outs or anything like that, please do get in touch. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at awesomecomicspod on Insta, at the awesomepod on X. And where did you hear this show? Was it on awesomecomics.podbean.com? If so, thank you. If it was on the Podbean app, if so, thank you. Was it on Apple Podcasts? Then leave us a nice review and say something, because then Apple's one of the main ones, so it's more people will check out the show. Perhaps you listen on Spotify as well. Same thing applies there. And Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What are the networks are we on, Tony?
Minge Towel.
How do you spell that?
Minge, first word.
Yeah, is it hyphen?
Second word, no. Second word, Towel, Minge Towel. Thank you to Damien and Helena for that suggestion last night.
There you go.
Yeah, lovely.
We may have been drinking.
Yeah, may have been.
Heavily.
Yeah. And you may have been listening because you're subscribed to our Substack, the Awesome Comics Podcast on Substack. Thank you to all the people that listen on there as well. If you want to listen to the show via there, then go on to Substack and just search for our name. We'll be there. There's we show pictures of the covers and some just stuff that we talk about.
Shit.
Yeah, you can restack us on there, and it seems to be getting quite a few numbers again.
Oh, like a Russian doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all inside of each other.
Always. And please do join the Slack community, where there's a wonderful community of people, podcast discussions, art threads, etc. We're approaching like Inktober.
Got a draw, haven't we?
We
got a special one organised.
We had an idea for an Inktober. We're not going to spoil it yet.
Nearer the time, get ready.
Nearer the time. So find out.
Love it.
But join the Slack community.
Eamonn did not invent it.
Yeah.
The Slack cartoon.
And he in no way endorses it.
He actually does the opposite. He endorses it when he wants to. Yeah.
Daniel Butcher, as I always say, those that know.
Yeah.
But I think an acpgear.redbubble.com if you want to support the show. Throw us a few pennies so we can do brilliant shows like this.
New T-shirt
week.
Coming up soon.
Yeah. Your mum is AI.
Yeah.
We're all about starting a conversation, so join us here next week for another conversation. And
guy I work with says he always wants to comment on people's family pictures on Facebook and just put AI slop.
I do make a point of finding people who are upset at work and asking them if it's because of their haircut. That's another one you can do.
It's because of their haircut. What?
Are you upset because of your haircut?
God. Anyway, where can people find us online, etc., Tony?
Tony is on Substack or neverironanything.podbean.com this week for a new episode.
Nice. Dan.
Excellent. You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com. Coming soon. Before the year is out, it will start.
Good.
Nice. And you can find me on social media at Jester Diablo. Thank you very much to everyone who's listened to this. We really appreciate it. Join us back here next week for more great comic content. Probably a load of us just talking a load of shite towards the end of the kissing each other.
Classic.
Yeah, come back here for kisses. That's
another T-shirt.
That's another
T-shirt.
T-shirt.
This is one of your misses.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
God, we're just a fucking ideas factory this week.
Yeah.
Just a T-shirt that says "No tongues."
Yeah. But printed on a tongue. Oh yeah, that's good. I like that. Let's brainstorm some more. Until then, from everyone here at HP Towers, have a brilliant week. Keep reading loads of comics you like. Keep making comics that you're really passionate about. And what else should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Epicentre.